Alright friends, I had some dilemmas with customer service this morning, so I am so excited for this video. I'm like, we're gonna talk about some feel-good Josei manga today. Hello friends, happy Wednesday. So very excited that you're here. So very excited to be collabing with my friend Maeve at Maeve Ever Manga. I will leave a link down to her channel as well as her video down below. We are talking about our top 5 favorite Josei manga. Now to be honest, if you watched my video, my manga collection video that I filmed earlier this year, you will see that my Josei manga was the least amount of demographics that I owned. Now I have nothing against Josei manga, okay? It has been a very slow journey for me because for the longest time, I honestly felt Josei manga was just not for me because I felt like a lot of Josei manga is really steamy and that's just not something I'm necessarily drawn towards, no pun intended. And so I often just did not pick it up. But as years have gone on and people have like, hey, not all Josei manga is like that. You know, you can't have that generalization. Not all Josei manga is like that. And I have really come to find that that is 100% true. So today, out of my very small list of Josei manga picks that I had, I was like, you know, I want to talk about the manga that has just made me feel so deeply, whether that was happiness, sadness, though more happiness, warm fuzzies, because I love that kind of manga very, very much. You're gonna see that I have a lot of slice of life Josei and I can't get enough of it, so let's go ahead, jump right in, and I will say, I don't know what Maeve picked today, so be sure to check out her video. I know I am because I want to know what she picked. I am very curious if she struggled with this prompt because when I saw my list and how tiny it was from like the manga that I own, I said, oh no. So we're gonna have a different problem than I had last week where, you know, with last week I had so many options for shoujo manga that I was like, I don't even know how to narrow it down to just certain things so it'd be easier for me to actually make a decision. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I was rereading this morning and for number 1, I am saying we swore to meet in the next life and that's when things got weird. This is a 3-volume series. It is an age gap manga, so it may not be for everyone, but the age gap is so well done. It is like directly addressed in every single volume because the story is about these two here, our leads. And as you can see, in their past life, they were a princess and a knight. They can never be together. And when they get reincarnated, as the title says, we swore to meet in the next life. But they find that they are very different ages. Our woman here is 39 and our guy, Harold, at least that was his name in his past life, is 17. That is quite the age gap, you know what I'm saying? But I love this Josei manga so much. I do have a review on this channel if you're curious about it. I have reread it a few different times. I really felt like when I was seeing my list, this series stood out to me because I bought it used. I think I bought 1 volume new, but I mainly bought the series used after my friend Emily at Meet the Weave Family Mom. I think that's her username. I feel like she changed it. If she did, I'll leave it right here in the corner. She had shared about how she enjoyed it, and when I saw it used, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go check it out too. And I remember the day that I decided to read this was not the same day. It was like however X amount of days later. But my oldest was extremely sick. Like he was very nauseous and he was having all those stomach issues. I go to CVS because I took him to the doctor. They are like, our machines are down. We cannot fill any kind of antibiotic, pill, nothing. And I'm over here a frazzled hot mess because I believe, oh, I know my oldest was sick, but I believe one of my other kids was sick. I was just feeling very frazzled because it was close to 6 or 7. And I think our store closes at like 8 or 9. And they're like, there's no guarantee that you can get your antibiotics today. And I'm like, I just want my son to feel better. So we finally did. I finally got, I mean, it was literally like 5 minutes before closing before I got those antibiotics. And so to help myself calm down, I decided to start reading the series. I never imagined I would stay up till almost midnight reading, feeling all the warm fuzzies, crying at the end, but like a good cry. It was just a beautiful, heartwarming experience. I really loved every single volume. I love seeing these two finally be able to have the happily ever after that they had longed for in their past life. It's just the age gap is making quite the dilemma for our female lead. Harold here, he's like, whatever, I don't really care, but he's like, I respect you, princess, and what you want. And so seeing sort of this dilemma and their struggles and them really giving consideration to, I mean, she loves him very deeply and dearly, but she's like, I don't want this young man to be with an old woman basically because she's gonna age faster than he is. And he's like, I really I don't care. I don't care. I want to be with you because I love you. And so he does these very sweet romantic moments. I mean, you can definitely tell that in his past life, he was a knight in shining armor. Like, he was so great. And so I love this series. It gives me all of the like warm fuzzies when I read it, makes me smile, makes me happy. And so I knew that for a top 5 Josei that this one had to be featured. And again, it's only 3 volumes. I don't know if it's out of print now or anything like that, but it is so wonderful. I love it so much. Of course, these are all in no certain order because for number 2, which I still feel like should have been number 1, honestly, is Play It Cool, guys. I love this manga so very much, and I do want to pause and give like a mini preface. So I was sort of stressed out for this video. Okay, not sort of, I actually was, okay? I was very much stressing about the Josei demographic. I wanted to make sure that all my picks were Josei, and then I saw this sort of like argument on Twitter, and I had this stressful spiral that I was like, wonder if I like completely mess up this video and none of my picks are Josei. No, that's not the case, and that's what I actually wanted to say, that many of these manga that I'm featuring today were done online. Play It Cool, guys, is a prime example, and I did reach out to people that I trust that I feel are extremely knowledgeable about demographics. I also went to Baka Updates, and I was assured that all of them felt that this was a Josei manga, as well as some of my other picks when I reached out and I asked people about them. So I do want to say that because despite if I don't have a lot of Josei, I have much respect for this demographic, and I feel like it's always sort of pushed to the side. I'm not sure if it's because people had struggles like I did, thinking it was very steamy. If that's not what you're like looking for, that it could feel like, well, that demographic's just not for me, but that's not true. So I feel for me personally that the Josei demographic, it's something I appreciate debunking for people like me who had that similar struggle. And so that was actually part of why I wanted to do feel good kind of stories and wanted to feature Play It Cool, guys. Let's go back to the video here or continue what I was going to say. I love this manga so very much. Hayate, one of my best boys. Oh my goodness, I love him. I love this manga. I was rereading it yesterday and I was like, it's perfect in every single way. Very slice of life. Most of the chapters, I mean, when you get in later volumes, yes, they do sort of have a connection to one another, but in the beginning, they have no kind of connection except for like when you meet the one guy, then you can know at the end of the chapter, you're gonna meet the other dude, and then that sort of like pattern continues until you meet all 4 guys and they all interact together, and their interactions, they are such goofy goobers, and I love them. Like, I still vividly remember reading this in my car, laughing so much and so hard, and I had my windows down because I was reading in the car line, waiting for my kids to get out of school, and I was like, I hope people don't think I'm weird, but I'm like, I'm having the time of my life, and every single time I open up any of these volumes, it doesn't matter which one, I feel that way every single time. This is a series that I love and adore, and I've seen so much dislike for it, and I'm just like, no, out of any series, you can't dislike these goofy guys. I just love them. It's a very feel-good, happy kind of story. It's also why, am I using the word right? Emotes? I think that's right. While like YouTube, it offers like for channel members that you can have special kind of emotes, emojis that only they can use, and that's why Hayate is one of the 3 that I had commissioned because I just love him so much. I just love him specific. I mean, I love all of them. I love Shun as well. All of them. But Hayate, he's so adorable. And I love this manga so very much. I need a new volume very, very much as well. I adore it. And maybe I didn't say much about the story, but it just makes me happy every time I read it. It's a colored manga and it is so very wonderful. The anime is very good, and I just only reread parts of this one yesterday, and I was like, Laura, I'm like, I know you're short on time, but you need to reread the other 3 volumes because it's just that feel good of a story of just seeing handsome guys do goofy things that we as people do maybe all the time or have done at least once, and creates this relatability that is just a fun way to see that relatability in the story itself. I could not recommend this enough. I adore it. I love it. Please go read it. Go watch the anime. It is so very good and so much fun. For number 3, I also knew for sure that I was going to be featuring this one because out of any of the picks I'm featuring today, I have reread Play It Cool, guys the most, probably followed by We Swore to Meet in the Next Life. And then for number 3, that was sort of funny how that timing worked, but for number 3, The Ice Guy and the Cool Girl, this would be the 3rd one I have read the most. Oh man, the way I cheered when we got this physically licensed because I read the first volume on Comic Key, absolutely loved it and adore it. I have a first impression of this manga specifically, or volume, excuse me. I told myself I would not read ahead on Comic Key until we physically had in our hands, and I celebrated. I love every single volume of this. It is just a feel-good story. I feel like I'm in a manga with all the little flowers spinning around me because it just makes me so happy. Numerous times I've read a new volume and it was the instant pickup that I need. needed and just revived my heart, my weary heart, and felt so happy and excited and just like, I need the next one because this volume, or these volumes, it's not just this one. These volumes are so incredibly short, but I love all of the expressions. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. So our main dude here, I didn't even say what Play Cool Guys is about, but the premise of that is handsome guys being goofy goobers and doing goofy things. And in the ice guy here, our guy here is he's a snow spirit or descendant of the snow spirit. And so his emotions come out in the form of snowy icicle things, and it is the cutest thing to see. Meanwhile, our main girl here is cool as a cucumber, and she doesn't have the same expressiveness that our main guy does, especially when it comes to the snow and the icicles. And so I wouldn't say they're polar opposites because they're both wonderful characters, but it is funny seeing Himuro. It is so funny seeing him just have moments like this, and when he gets embarrassed, has the hail coming on. I think it's when he's embarrassed, and it's just so great. I love every single moment of this manga, and the latest volume was everything. I absolutely adored it. This is a series that there's times I thought about like not buying more, not because I don't like it, but because the volumes are $15 each, and I read these so quickly, but I love the series so much that I'm like, no, I want to keep reading this physically because it's just so much fun, and I just love the characters so much. I mean, our leads here are absolutely fantastic, but I love the whole cast of characters and that we're seeing things with the preview of the latest volume with one of the side couples getting some attention. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Much feel-good excitement when it comes to reading this series. Same as Play It Cool Guys. Like, these are the series that I go to when I know that, yes, I need to pick me up, but also that I'm just gonna have a fun time and I'm just gonna feel 10 times better than when I first started reading the manga. For number 4, this one is a little bit different. I do feel it's a feel-good kind of story, but the very first time I read it, I cried, and that is I Am a Cat Barista. This is a 2-volume series about this cat here, or cat human, and oh my goodness, when I was rereading this a little bit this morning, and it just... It hit me not the same way it did when I first read it. So basically there's this cafe run by this cat. Only the weariest of souls can find this cafe. Like, you can't just randomly find it. It has to be the weariest of souls, and they come and they have some kind of problem, some kind of issue, and they feel so worn down or burnt out or very defeated. And here comes our cat. And he makes the perfect drink for them. And he gives the just the right amount of like encouraging words that lift up their heart and revive their heart to help them continue on with their day-to-day business. And honestly, that is why I'm saying this in my top 5, because just from the first chapter alone, I remember I was going through an extremely hard time. That's when my family was getting hit by sickness literally every single week. I mean, it was unstoppable, it felt like. I felt so burnt out. I felt very defeated, and I just felt extremely discouraged. And then comes in this manga. I decided to read it. I don't remember why I picked it up, to be honest. I have no idea. But I picked it up, I started reading it, and I just started sobbing because I just felt that our cat here was speaking directly to my heart. I mean, it was like I found that cafe in my weariest, most exhausting moments where I just needed somebody to pour into me, no pun intended, pour encouragement to me and pour love into me and just remind me like, hey, you are doing the best that you can right now. It is overwhelmingly hard, but do not give up. Don't get discouraged. You're doing a great job. And it was just like he gave me a cup of whatever, and it really revived my heart so very much. And it's a series I haven't gone back to reread in its fullness from like cover to cover, but it's still one I flip through, and I'm just like, thank you God for this manga, because it just encouraged me so very much. I do have a review on both volumes. No spoilers. I actually made coffee for the very first time in that video of all things. So I love this series. I feel like it's a feel-good in the sense it encourages you. It gives you a pick-me-up when you need it. I don't remember relating to every single character because it's like a new character every chapter, but I still felt so encouraged. So if you need a pick-me-up in the sense that you need a reminder that you as a person, you are doing a good job. Don't beat yourself up. Don't degrade yourself. You are doing awesome. And this series honestly reminds, I feel like each of its readers that you're going to relate to somebody in some way, you're going to feel so seen as a person and be reminded you're doing a good job, and not to, again, just berate yourself because of you're doing a great job. And honestly, that is so timely for me because I just feel like I'm in this weird limbo with real life stuff happening and different adjustments. And so I needed it. I need to remember, like, hey, hang in there. I'm doing the best that I can to the best of my abilities, and that I don't need to beat myself up because I don't feel like I'm being perfect in this kind of situation. So it is a feel-good, encouraging kind of story that I really feel like can touch every reader, just because of how different the people are that we meet and that he serves strengths to and gives those kind, encouraging words. It is such a good manga, and it's only 2 volumes. Highly would recommend this one. For number 5, on the flip side, if we had a cat manga, I'm really excited to feature a dog manga, and maybe it's a little bit unfair to say that this is in my top 5 Josei, remember, for feel good, and I feel like this fits. I've read it 2 or 3 times, and it's not even that old of a release. Let me see if I can say it, because I'm pretty sure I featured it in my August reading wrap-up video. I'm pretty sure. Pop Opposites Attract. I think that's how you say this, because I feel like that title trips me up every single time. Again, I read this 2 or 3 times after I read it. This is a feel-good story with dogs, and it was so wonderful. You don't even need to own a dog. You don't even need to be a dog person. I feel like just to walk away feeling refreshed, feeling revived, in your heart feeling all of the warm fuzzies, because goodness, I know I did. I remember being very exhausted when I read this at the time, because it was like, okay, it's been a long day. I really want to go to bed, but I also want to like decompress, so I'm going to pick this up. And it was like the perfect read at that moment. I loved it. It's more of a polar opposites kind of story where the owners are very different than what their dogs appear to be, and I loved it. Again, like the others, the story, or the chapters, excuse me, they don't really connect with one another. I do feel like as we got later to the end of this volume, that yes, there was more of a like, okay, this chapter is tied into the next one, but it's not like, you know, we're related in any kind of way. And I loved all of the moments with it, because I think it was really refreshing, or it was really nice to read something like that where you didn't have to think when you read this manga. You just read and you enjoyed yourself, you enjoyed your time, and that is honestly what happened. I feel like that is a great way to explain this, and I am so excited for the next volume. I just pre-ordered it the other day, and I can't wait to see what happens going forward, because they're just so much fun. Seeing them love their dogs is just so satisfying. I mean, I don't have a dog, so I'm sort of living through this manga of sort of wanting a dog again, but I'm like, I don't want the responsibility of having to take care of a pet, because I'm like, that would be a lot for me right now. So being able to read this was a beautiful and very fun-filled kind of story that I'm like, I really hope that later volumes release quickly, because I am not going to be content to just have 2 volumes on my shelf. I feel like maybe this was the ultimate feel-good story of just warm fuzzies, your brain turned off, and you just appreciate the art, appreciate the characters, and all the cute shenanigans that are happening. But I had to say an honorable mention, because I sort of feel with that Mr. Villain's Day Off. I really enjoyed this. Originally, I liked it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to stick with it, but I just sort of kept buying volumes, and then it was becoming in, well, I think we're on volume 5, with volume 6 going to release next, and it just kept getting pushed higher and higher of like, I have to pre-order the next volume because I'm having such a great time. This is another very fun one, very slice of life as well. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it, except for our guy here, he just wants to, our villain, excuse me, just wants to enjoy his day off, go look at the pandas, and pandas have saved the earth from annihilation more than once. All of these, I super love them. They all make me very happy. I feel like there was a lot of gushing in this video, just a lot of excitement, because they all just, again, they make me feel good, and I love them and adore them for different reasons. But I would love to hear from you, friends. What are some feel-good manga that you've read that you would recommend? I'm always up for a slice of life, because the feel-good vibes are just my cup of tea. That's my jam. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!